Good morning, dear children. Welcome back to your geography classes. I am Mrs. Roshni Nair, and from today onwards, we will be starting our second term portion for geography. Before we start our second term, let us first discuss about the portion for second unit test. So, for second unit test, we will be having two chapters. Out of that, first one is industries, their need, classification. It is chapter 9 from your textbook. And second is major industries, which is chapter 10 in your geography textbook. So please mark the portion for second unit test. That is industries, their need and classification, chapter 9, and major industries, chapter 10. Now these two portions we will be covering till our December month, that is before we go for a break. So today we will be starting chapter 9, that is industries, their need and classification. I will be covering this chapter in 4 videos. Today we will be having part 1, that is only the introduction about the chapter, because industries as such is a very vast portion which will take time for you to understand, and out of that vast portion we will be covering only few headings in class 7. So before we start a formal session for the chapters, today we will be having only an introduction about the chapter, and I will inform you about the portions which will be covered in this chapter. So you can keep your textbook ready and mark the headings which are there and score out the headings which are not there. So let us start our chapter. Chapter 9, industries, their need and classification. Have you ever given a thought to the fact that the notebook you use for writing, or the textbook which I just told you to keep ready to mark the portions, has come to you after a long process of manufacturing? Basically, it started its life as a part of a tree. So let me show you. So this tree was first cut down and transported to the pulp mill. There, the wood of the tree was processed and converted into wood pulp. Now, this wood pulp was mixed with chemicals and it finally changes to paper by machines. So this paper found its way to the press, where ink made from the chemicals was used to print the lines on the pages, and the pages were then bound in the form of a notebook or a textbook, packed and sent to the market for sale. And finally it reached your hands. So these type of manufacturing or the secondary activities change the raw materials into products of more value to the people. As you have seen, pulp was changed into paper and the paper into a notebook. These represent the two stages of manufacturing process. Now, why I told secondary activity? Because primary activity we all know is farming or something which is related to agriculture. The paper which was made from pulp and the cloth made from the cotton have had value added to them at each stage of the manufacturing process. In this way, the finished product has more value and utility than the raw material that is made from. So what I mean to say here is, we are not interested in buying fossil fuel, but we are interested in buying petrol or diesel. That is the final product, right? Now, before I start my chapter, let us mark the portions which are covered from this chapter. That is, according to the new syllabus, what all topics we will be covering in this chapter. So, you can open page number 68 in your chapter. We will be covering first heading, that is, what is an industry. Then, second topic will be need for industries in the world. In that, we will be covering the three subtopics which are mentioned under the heading need for industries in the world. Third topic in the textbook, page number 69, is classification of industries. Under that topic, we will not be covering classification on the basis of size, and we will not be covering classification on the basis of ownership. We will be covering only classification on the basis of raw material. So both the topics are cancelled. First and second topic is cancelled. Only the third one, that is classification on the basis of raw material, will be covered according to the new syllabus. After that, we will be covering the heading factors that decide the establishment of an industry. That is the fourth topic from this chapter, and all the subtopics are important and also will be covered. After completing the chapter, we will be learning the important terms and exercise questions related to the portion which will be covered. So what are the cancelled ones? Only the two headings, that is classification on the basis of size and also classification on the basis of ownership. Now, as I mentioned, this is an introduction to the chapter, and I feel few topics from these headings also you should know. So I will be teaching in detail the portion whichever is there according to the new syllabus, but I will be touching the portions which are cancelled because I feel you should have the knowledge of this portion also. Now coming to the main or the important part, that is, what is an industry? Today, being an introductory session, I will be covering all the topics in short. And in detail, we will be studying from our next video, that is part 2. So part 1 will be only the introductory session on industries. So let us start with understanding about industry. In general, industry refers to an economic activity that is concentrated with production of goods, maybe extraction of minerals, or the provision of services. So we all know Bangalore is famous for IT industry. We have automobile manufacturing industries, and there are oil industries, chocolate manufacturing industries. Even we have the handmade or the cottage industries. And as I had mentioned in the beginning of the chapter, paper industry, or even As the picture indicates, it can be a industry which manufactures the basic stationery to be provided, right? So all these are different industries for you to understand. You might be familiar with even the milk industry, Amul. We know very famous brands. Now I'll show you a few logos, although it is not related anywhere, but these logos will click, or the name will click, and we know somewhere about these type of industries. That is, seeing Pidilite, we know, oh, okay, it is related to Fevicol. We, in general, we use Fevicol. Exide is related to batteries. Nestle, we, so many times we eat Nestle, we eat chocolates, we use Nestle products like coffee powder. Kisan is famous for jam. Taj, these are all group of industries, right? So these logos represent only few industries. And let me mention, this is only for you to understand. Now coming to the actual terms which we will learn in this chapter. First, let us learn about industry. As I told, industry refers to any productive activity in any sphere of life. It can be an economic activity that is concerned with the production of goods, even the extraction of minerals, or even, as I told, provision of services like hotel industry, even the entertainment industry, media industry. Thus, I can also mention example of iron and steel industry, which is involved in production of goods, coal or mining industry, which is involved in extraction of coal, and very familiar tourism industry. So they are service providers. Industry is also related term where a group of people or companies engage in a particular kind of business enterprise, and as I told, manufacturing industry, tourism industry, jewelry, handloom, leather products, all these are the example of industries. Industries generally provide infrastructural support for the development of a country, and industries provide us with the products which make our life easier. And also, industries help in employment to a lot of people. What are the need for industries in the world? This we will learn in detail in our next video. But in short, what are the need for industries in the world? I can always mention in India, since the population is increasing rapidly, hence India cannot depend on agriculture alone. In agriculture, only a limited expansion and development is possible. So, I can say that to reduce the problem of unemployment, we need industries. And we also need industries to keep pace with the fast-moving world in terms of advanced technologies and enter international trade, which is possible only through industrialization. Industries make a country financially strong. Industries also provide products of daily use. All the products like soap, or we can say the cleaning materials, the utility products, whatever we get in shops and malls are provided by the industries. Even the toys, shoes, books, everything is provided by industries. And industrial development in the background regions will help in reducing its regional imbalance. Industries also produce goods and equipments which require for the defense of the country. Industries also can be classified into, or we can say categorized into, many groups. It can be categorized on the basis of raw materials which are used. It can be categorized on the basis of size. Size in a sense, for example, cottage industry. Cottage industries is generally a household unit which is run by a family, or we can say the craftsmen and their family members carry on their traditional work which is started by their forefathers maybe generations ago, and these industries generally produce all kinds of handicrafts or handlooms, like you can see a carpet weaving. Their products might be jewelry or maybe pottery, leather products, etc. And they also have a central cottage industries emporium. Do you remember this store which is there in MG Road? So these stores will help in selling the produce which is manufactured in the cottage industry. So all the small products which are being made in these cottage industries are encouraged by the government as they generate employment and also improve the living conditions, especially in rural areas. Industries can also be classified as, we can say, a small scale industry, where a small scale industry best example is the papad industry or the pickling or maybe tailoring, even the spices. So these are much larger in size than cottage industry when we compare, but smaller than the large scale industry in terms of the number of people which are employed and the capital which is invested. So size of any industry refers to the amount of capital which is invested, number of people who are employed, and the volume of production. So we can differentiate industries or classify industries into a small scale industry or a large scale industry based on the size. Cottage or the household industries are also a type of small scale industry where the products are manufactured by hand by the artisans, and basket weaving, pottery, and all these handicrafts are the example of cottage industry. Small scale industries are industries which use lesser amount of capital. Capital means the money or the initial investment, and technology as compared to the large scale industries. Let me show you a few large scale industries. So these are the examples of large scale industries, that is cement manufacturing, automobile, oil industry, even the rail engine factories. So large scale industries that produce large volumes of products. And here in this large scale, even the investment of capital is higher and the technology used is superior. The silk weaving and food processing industries are small scale industries, but the production of automobiles and heavy machinery are the examples of large scale industries. At few times, industries can be also classified on the basis of raw materials which are used for manufacturing. So we can say industries may be agro-based, or we can say mineral-based, marine-based, and forest-based, depending on the type of raw material they use. Agro-based industries use generally plant and animal-based products as their raw material. Food processing, vegetable oil, cotton textiles, dairy products, and leather industries are example of agro-based industries. And we also have mineral-based industries. These industries are primary industries that use mineral ores as their raw materials. The products of these industries feed other industries. That is, it is all linked. Iron made from iron ore is a product of mineral-based industry, and this is used as a raw material for the manufacture of a number of other products such as heavy machines. You can see in the screen all these bikes or the cars which are manufacturing, somewhere we are using iron as a raw material. Even this iron is used for building materials and also in railway coaches. Marine-based industries use the products from the sea. Marine, as the word indicates, marine means something which is related to sea and ocean. So marine-based industries use products from the sea or ocean as raw material. And the industries processing seafood or manufacturing fish, oil, or some other examples. Forest-based industries utilize the forest produce as raw material. The industries associated with forests are pulp and paper. I give example. We have pharmaceutical industries. We have so many Ayurvedic products. That is also forest-based industry. Then we have furniture, best example, and also buildings. Now, what are the factors that decide the establishment of an industry? These 7 are the main factors. So the locational factors, as they are called for industries, are transport, land, power, raw material, labor, capital, and market. So the factors which affect the location of industries are mainly these 7. Let me repeat. That is the availability of raw material, availability of land, water, labor, availability of power, capital, transport, and availability of market. Now the industries are situated where some or all of these factors are easily available. Sometimes the government provides incentives, like they will provide subsidized power, lower transport cost, and other infrastructure so that the industries may be located in backward areas. Now, what is the use of putting an industry somewhere in a backward area? Because see, when there is a new industry in any area, it will increase the employment opportunities, right? So the standard of living will also rise. In some or other way, it will help in raising the standard of living. And slowly there will be shops, or we can say the population will increase. There will be some new shops which are coming up, and then once a population reaches a certain level, there will be certain facilities to be provided, like they will start a normal dispensary, or we can say a small hospital in that region. Then they will have a school. So somewhere it is all related to the way the people live, or we can say somewhere they are rising the way they are living. So industrialization will lead to the development and growth of towns and cities. Now, what do you mean by this industrial system? System means what? The industrial system will consist of input. Second is process. And third is output. Input is what? Input is generally a raw material, then labor and the cost of land. Somewhere the labor has to be transported. So transport cost is also included in input, power and the infrastructure. The processes include a wide range of activities that convert the raw material into finished products. The outputs are the end product and the income earned from it. In case of the textile industry, for example, I can say the input may be cotton, human labor, then factory, and also the transport cost. Transport cost can be for labor, or it can also be for the transport of material, manufactured one, final product, or even the raw material. The process includes ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, and last is printing. And the output is the shirt or the dress which you wear. Now coming to next important heading, that is we can say industrial regions. Now industrial regions are defined clearly. Why it is defined clearly? Because if it is a small scale or a large scale industry, for example, you can't start in between a populated city, or you can't start even near to any type of settlement. Why? Because it will lead to pollution, some sort of disease, and spread of disease will be more. So many things are interrelated. So industrial regions emerge when a number of industries locate close to each other and share the benefits of their closeness. So the major industrial regions of the world, in general, I can say when I'm talking about Eastern North America, Western Europe, even Central Europe for that matter, Eastern Europe and Eastern Asia also. Eastern Asia, what are the main cities? I can say Japan, Beijing, Korea, all these comes in the Eastern Asia. So the major industrial regions tend to be located in the temperate areas. That is important because the conditions should be proper. Then from the beginning, like we can say from 6th standard, we are studying in history chapters that many places which are situated near to seaports will help in export. So the industries many times are situated near to the seaport, especially the industries which are related to some sort of export, or the money earned will depend on the type or the quantity of the export. And there are few industries which are situated especially near to the coal fields. In India also we have several industrial regions like Bangalore. Now if I talk about Bangalore, Tamil Nadu belt also comes under industrial region because so many IT companies are there, and related to that companies we have so many manufacturing industries, like we have somewhere automobile industries too, we can say they are growing along with the IT industries. So IT is a major factor of course, but along with that there are several other factors which are included. Even we can say industry which helps in manufacturing of office related products, even the furnitures, right? So the belt, that is Bangalore, Tamil Nadu. Why Tamil Nadu? Because many times the cost factor is less. State-wise, when we check, the cost factor will be less in Tamil Nadu. Then we have Mumbai, Pune cluster. So many industries. Mumbai, we all know it is the financial capital of India. So many industries, even clothing, we all know, media, entertainment. Pune, we have so many IT industries. We have so many small scale industries, many things are manufactured. Many industries are located in this belt, Mumbai-Pune cluster as it is known as. Then we have Hooghly region. In the eastern part of India, we have Ahmedabad-Baroda region. All this Reliance and so many big companies are related to this region, Ahmedabad-Baroda. Then we have Chota Nagpur industrial belt. We have Visakhapatnam Guntur belt. You might have heard about Gurgaon, Delhi, Meerut region. In south, if we talk, it is Kollam and Thiruvananthapuram industrial cluster. So as I told, it is a vast chapter, but we will be covering only few headings from the topic or the theme as it is mentioned in our book, Industries. So in class 7, we will be studying majorly about industries, about the need, about the classification of, and in next chapter, that is major industries, you will be learning in short about the steel industry. You will be learning about the information and technology, the cotton industry. Then you will be learning about shipbuilding industry, fishing industry, sugar industry and all. And when we are talking a lot about these industries, so many things are related to the growth of industry, or we can say so many things are related to industry as such, because industries will cause some sort of pollution. So when factories that manufacture goods, they dump their waste into water, air and soil, which will lead to water pollution, air pollution, soil pollution. Not only in India, with millions of industries around the world, one cannot imagine the kind of pollution that is being created every day. And also, industrial pollution is responsible for the degradation of the natural environment, right? So these things are associated with each other. Today being the introductory session, I had informed you about industry, what is an industry. So in next session again, I will define industry and I will also explain you about the need of industries in the world, and also, as I told, we will be covering classification of industry, only one heading, that is classification on the basis of raw material. So in the coming classes, we will be learning more about industries. Now, before I end this session, I want you to watch this small video about industries and also need for industries in the world. Let us watch.
Why do we need industries? Today, industries play an essential role in the development of any economy. In most economies, industrial production contributes the major part of the country's gross domestic product. So, what is an industry? Industry refers to a group of people or companies involved in business activities. For example, people who are engaged in manufacturing automobiles are part of the automobile industry. People involved in the manufacture of cotton textiles are part of the cotton textile industry. People involved in making movies are part of the movie industry, and so on. Similarly, there are several other industries such as the steel industry, software industry, banking industry, etc. Let's now understand the reason why industries are so important. Industries strengthen the financial position of a country. The higher the number of industries, higher is the strength of the country's economy. For example, the United States of America has several industries which makes it one of the strongest economies of the world. China is also an upcoming strong economy due to the huge number of industries coming up in China. Industries meet the demands of consumers by supplying required goods and services. Several basic products such as toothpaste, clothes, books, medicines, etc. are manufactured and supplied by different industries. Industries are also essential to ensure that there exists no shortage of essential products for the people. They produce all the essential products in accordance with the demand and supply the same at a reasonable price. Thus, in all these ways, industries are very essential for the overall development of the nation. Let's quickly recap the important points.
Today being the introductory session, I will give you a simple exercise to do. You will define industry, that will be the first question attached in the PDF format, and the second will be you have to give two examples based on, for example, raw material. That is, as I told, if it is a cloth manufacturing industry, raw material can be cotton. And what is the final product or the end product? It can be the cloth, the shirt, whatever you're wearing. Same if it is a leather industry, What will be the raw material? I'll give you very basic question, don't worry. Now you are very smart in using internet also, you can take the help of that. So hardly 5 questions, that is raw material of some few products where the end products are given from my side, or maybe I will give you raw materials as an example and you have to frame or write the end product of that, right? So that will be an ideal example for industry as the basic one. So I'll be attaching questions. We are not starting with any textbook question as of now. You will just write or copy important terms in your notebook related to the portion which is there. Let me repeat portion once again to avoid confusion. From page 68, we will be covering what is an industry, and second heading will be need for industries in the world. Under that, we will be covering all the 3 topics in our next video. And the next heading, that is classification of industries. Under that, we will cover classification of industry, the third one, that is on the basis of raw material. Before that, first and second, that is on the basis of size and on the basis of ownership, is not there in your syllabus. You can score out that classification on the basis of size, all the 3 types, and also classification on the basis of ownership, all the 4 types you can score out. You will be doing only one, that is classification on the basis of raw material. After that, page number 71, everything is there. Factors that decide the establishment of industry, and also page number 72. So, thank you children. Take care of yourself and complete the PDF questions.